way. We talking about popping, I promise I'm feeling the way. I took the bodies up out of my closet.
What's up, guys? This your boy, Mr. I-240. I'm back with another episode today. Hey, man, most important, I want to thank Lord Jesus Christ, y'all, or whatever y'all call him, you know what I'm saying? If it weren't for him, it won't be no me, won't be no page, won't be no y'all. I want to say I appreciate the love that my last two episodes got, especially that Kamala jump. We had 212 views. I appreciate y'all. Thank y'all. Be honest, I put my all into it. I ain't even know the video gonna get a lot of love. And I appreciate that. Go check out that junk and go check out the Rick Rude junk too. Go check out the Doing the Clown. Them the last few junks I dropped, you know what I'm saying? With that being said, y'all, like I always say in these videos, we all going through critical times right now. As you can see, it's a alleged earthquake that's supposed to go down. They split America, especially in my region of Tennessee. So if it is, and like like the little homie said on TikTok, we cook, you know what I'm saying? Also, we got the president election, and no, I'm not voting because I don't believe in either one of them. I don't mess with politics. I think politics is full of crap. I'm not finna go there on this episode, but I just don't believe in politics, so I will not be anticipating vote because politics is full of joke. Can't no man change the word. The only person that can change the word is the Lord Jesus Christ, the Savior, the Father, and the Holy Spirit. That's it. But with that being said, we almost at 800 subscribers, so the 800 subscriber episode will be, again, Sting versus Ric Flair. So if you're new to the page, comment, subscribe, hit that notification button, you know what I'm saying? But with that being said, today's episode is about my main man, the rowdy one, the originator, the rowdiest wrestler of all time that brought that white edge, that crunkness, that savagery. Even though he had controversy, we're gonna get to that. I'm pretty sure we're gonna get to that. And my main man I'm talking about is Roddy Piper. So with that being said, like I just said, if you're new to the page, comment, subscribe, hit that notification button. So let's get to it. You know what I'm saying? Roddy Piper was a Canadian wrestler who was built as a Gaslow, as a Scotland wrestler, well known for a signature kick and bagpipe. And plus, it was based off his Scottish heritage. So he displayed where he was a short temper and he was very witty, you know what I'm saying? He was either a heel, he was better as a heel, but he was awesome as a face. Because he was always dope on the mic, you know what I'm saying? But let's get into it. Let's start with his professional career. Piper was an amateur wrestler before he started to become a professional wrestler. He claimed to have won a golden glove and boxing championship. Though their lists of champions do not include any of his names. He was awarded a black belt in judo from Jean LaBelle. He started wrestling under the care of promoter Al Tomko in Canada. He soon began earning money wrestling while still going to school. His first match involving midget wrestlers in front of a lumberjack audience in Churchill. I don't even know how to pronounce that country, and I ain't finna insult myself like that, little bro. You feel me? But he soon began earning money wrestling while still going to school. His first match in a famous organization was with Larry Hennig, the American Wrestling Association. Friends of his played the bagpipes during his entry while he was handing out dandelions, like flowers and stuff like that. Meanwhile, the ring announcer had to announce something, but all he knew was that Piper's name was Rowdy. So coincidentally, whatever you want to call it, you know what I'm saying? I get tongue-tied, you feel me? After seeing the pipe band, he announced, "Ladies and gentlemen, here comes Roddy Piper." This gave the birth of Roddy Piper. From 1973 to 1975, Piper was a jobber in AWA, NWA, Central States territories surrounding Kansas City and Eastern Sports Association and Maritime. He also worked in Texas for Paul Borschi. I get that's his name. Y'all know. If y'all real wrestling heads know, make sure I pronounce it right over there. but Paul Borges in NWA Houston Wrestling Promotion, and in Dallas for Furts Von Erich Big Time Wrestling. That's the Von Erich, the father. You know what I'm saying? So let's start with National Wrestling Alliance Territory from 1975 to 1983. California, Portland from 1975 to 1980. By late 1975 and early 1976, Piper was a top villain for Mike and Gene LaBelle NWA Hollywood Wrestling. In 1977 through 1978, he started to work for Roy Shine's NWA San Francisco Wrestling, in addition to remaining with Los Angeles office, where Piper developed his rowdy character during this time. He made continuous insults directed at the area's Mexican community. He later promised to make up for this by playing the Mexican national anthem on his bagpipes, only to anger the fans further by playing La Caracha. If I'm pronouncing that, put them in the comments instead, which in turn caused a riot. Piper also managed a stable of wrestlers in California. In Los Angeles area, Piper feuded with Chavo Guerrero Sr., which is Junior father, of course, and his father, Gory Guerrero. Piper and Chavo Guerrero faced each other in several matches for the Jules Strongbow Memorial Scientific Trophy. Piper also defeated Chavo for the Americans Heavyweight title. During the feud, Piper lost a hair match and had to shave his head. Piper appeared in several loser league town matches and was forced to leave the territory. He also appeared in the territory as the Masked Canadian. In his first televised match as the Masked Canadian, Piper teamed with Chavo in a match against Black Gorman and Goliath for the American Tag Team Championships. Piper and Guerrero lost the match and faced each other 2 days later. Piper defeated Guerrero for the American Heavyweight Championship. Piper wrestled as the Masked Canadian for several months until he was unmasked by Hector Guerrero. By the late 1978, early 1979, Piper left the California promotions for even more fame in Don Owens' Portland-based Pacific North Territory. He teamed up with Kellerteen Brooks and Rick Martel to win the NWA NWA Pacific Northwest Tag Team Championships. Piper also won the NWA Pacific Northwest Heavyweight Championship with the victories over both Lower Jonathan Boyd and Playboy Buddy Rose. Then we got Georgia, 1980 to 1983. In the early 1980s, Piper ventured to the Mid-Atlantic territory where he beat Jack Briscoe for the Mid-Atlantic title. He also defeated Ric Flair for the U.S. belt, which turned into a feud from 1981 to 1982. Piper served as a commentator on Georgia Championship Wrestling and feuded with the likes of Bob Armstrong, Dick Slater, and Tommy Rich. During the summer of 1982, Piper became a fan favorite after knocking out Don Morocco and Ole Anderson to save the broadcast partner, Gordon Solie, from Morocco, who have grown angry at Solie for questioning his tactics. In Wrestling to Wrestling, Gerald W. Morton and George M. O'Brien described the transformation. The drama finally played itself out on television when one of Piper hired assassins, Don Morocco, suddenly attacked the commentator Gordon Solie. Seeing Solie hurt, Piper unleashed the Scottish Fury on Morocco in the week followed. Like an Achilles avenging, I can't pronounce that word, he slaughtered villain after villain in the arenas, fans chanting his name throughout the matches. But in 1982, Piper was fired because of showing up late for a match. He went up to Puerto Rico for a month and was booked by Jim Barnett shortly thereafter. Piper returned to Georgia Arena in the summer of 1983 to aid Tommy Rich during a rivalry with Buzz Sawyer. Eventually, Piper moved back to Jim Crockett Promotions as a fan favorite. He began feuding with Sergeant Slaughter, Ric Flair, Greg Valentine. Piper feuded with Valentine, communicated in the classic dog collar match at the first Starrcade. Let's get it cracking. All right. Valentine broke Piper's left eardrum during the match with the collar chain, causing Piper to permanently lose his hearing 50 or 75 50 or 50 or 75% of his hearing. This became known as the year of the ear. Damn, I ain't know my boy couldn't hear. Man, you find interesting stuff. Y'all put them in the comments and let me know if it's true. I ain't know my boy lost his hearing like that. That's crazy. Alright, WWF, World Wrestling Federation, 1979, 1984 through 1987. Before entering the World Wrestling Federation full-time in 1984, Piper wrestled 5 matches with the WWF under Vince Sr. In 1979 at Madison Square Garden, his first match in WWF, he defeated jobber Frankie Williams on January 22nd. Before, he had one match. Freddie Blassie stuffed Piper bagpipes with toilet paper so they would not play in front of the Garden crowd. Then, of course, the infamous classic show, Piper's Pit, was born 1984, 1987. Let's get it cracking. Let's go. Piper's Pit in 1984, 1987. In 1983, WWF owner Vince McMahon contacted Piper, who insisted serving out his contract with Jim Crockett before. I think Vince had bought Jim Crockett. I'm not mistaken. Y'all put him in the comments. Starting his WWF run in 1984. Piper debuted in WWF as a manager, working with Dr. D. David Shirthurst. Yep. I get tongue tied, you know what I'm saying, trying to, you feel me? But he was his manager. This the guy that slapped the reporter for saying wrestling was fake, and he slapped the hell out of him. And Mr. Wonderful, Paul Orndorff. But eventually, Piper run as a manager quietly in, and he started wrestling full time, focusing on one of his strengths as a wrestler, the microphone. He was given his own interview segment called "The Piper's Pit" on the Championship Wrestling and Wrestling at the Chase in 1984. And he starting a run of segment that ended in 1987. During one Piper Pit, he assaulted Jimmy Fly Snuka Heritage and attacked Snuka by smashing him over the head with a coconut. Piper insulted Bruno Sammartino during a Piper Pit segment, which led to a feud that ended in a steel cage match on February 8, 1986 at the Boston Garden, which Piper lost. But Piper's next storyline is the reason why we are wrestling fans right now. And it's starting with the WrestleMania 1 feud. Here we go. Piper's next major storyline was Hulk Hogan. It also involved pop singer Cyndi Lauper in 1985. MTV broadcast the War to Settle the Score, which featured the main event between Piper and Hogan for the WWF Championship. Hogan was accompanied to the ring by Lauper, Captain Lou Albano, and Mr. T. This event set up the first WrestleMania, which pitted Paul Orndorff and his bodyguard, Cowboy Bob Orton. Well, no. Which pitted Paul Orndorff and this event set up the first WrestleMania, which pitted Paul Orndorff and his former manager Piper against Hogan and Mr. T. Orndorff was pinned by Hogan when Piper bodyguard Cowboy Bob Orton interfered, mistakenly struck Orndorff instead of Hogan. This one Piper didn't want to put Hogan over. I'm trying to see, was this the match where Piper refused to put Hogan over? Y'all put him in the comments. I used to hear Ryder Piper. I think Ryder Piper was the only man who refused to put Hogan over. So, let's see. Piper recalled how during the match he had to keep Mr. T busy to cover Mr. T's lack of wrestling ability by seeing the fans seen by the fans. So basically, the fans was starting to notice that Mr. T wrestling skills were no good. It was trash. They want it. So Piper had to basically make him look good. So it was seen by the fans. From this situation, Piper and Mr. T real life relationship became hostile, leading to which led to conclusion that they be put on to a feud with one another on screen. Piper faced Mr. T in a boxing match at WrestleMania 2 in 1986, which Piper lost by disqualification. Which Piper lost by DQ after body slamming Mr. T. You know, Roddy Piper wasn't a fan of celebrities being in the wrestling business. He didn't like that. You know what I'm saying? Because he loved the art, he loved the sport, so he just didn't like that. So after that, following a leave of absence from WWF, Piper returned as a face during the TV taping of Championship Wrestling on August 23, 1986 against AJ Petrucci. As a part of the storyline, Piper was distressed to find his Piper Pig segment replaced by the Flower Shop, a segment hosted by Adrian Adonis. You know, Adrian Adonis was like the Elton John of wrestling at that time. I heard he was pretty good, but just wanted him to be more flamboyant, colorful, and yeah, I'm trying not to be controversial, but you get what I'm saying. Who had also hired Piper's former bodyguard, Bob Orton. Piper spent weeks crashing Adonis' show, trade insults, leading to a showdown between the two segments that ended with Piper being assaulted and humiliated by Adonis, Orton, and Don Morocco, and the destruction of the original Piper pit set, resulting in Piper face turn in the construction of a more permanent Piper pit set. In response, Piper stormed the set of Adonis' show and destroyed it with a baseball bat, which led to their hair versus hair match, which was billed as Piper's retirement match from wrestling before he left to become a full-time actor. Piper won the match. So, in early 1987, Piper Pit also served as the backdrop for Andre the Giant heel turn, challenging Piper old foe Hulk Hogan for a WWF World Heavyweight Championship match at WrestleMania 3, which, well, of course, Hulk Hogan accepted the challenge. But it is. So, his return in 1989 to 1996. In 1989, Piper had returned from the 2-year hiatus. Although WrestleMania 5 was billed as his return, he actually made his first appearance on March 19th in Denver, Colorado at a house show when he hosted a live Piper's Pit and interviewed Brother Love. 2 weeks later, WrestleMania 5, he did make his official return with another live Piper Pit where he holds down a smoking Morton Downing Jr. with a fire extinguisher. He made his return to the ring on March 12th, substituting for Jake Roberts and pinning Ted DiBiase on a house show in Los Angeles. Piper would gain several more victories against Ted DiBiase that month and also against Randy Savage in June. So, after this, Piper co-hosted Primetime Wrestling from January 17, 1989 to December 25, 1989 with Gorilla Monsoon, feuding with Bobby Heenan, ravishing Rick Rude, and Brother Love. He would return to the show in 1991 as well. Piper returned to the ring when he interfered in Rude Intercontinental Heavyweight Championship defense against the Ultimate Warrior at SummerSlam, causing Rude the title. The feud was heavily promoted on TV. Piper would face Rude in many matches throughout the house shows, tours, including a steel cage match and lumberjack match. The feud was so prominent that Survivor Series match was built around it, which saw both men captain a team and simultaneously be eliminated by countout during the brawl. Though Rude's team would go on to win the match, the feud came to a head shortly thereafter on Primetime Wrestling, during an on-air between Heenan and Piper, which Piper won, resulting in Heenan having to dress as Santa Claus during the next episode of Primetime Wrestling. The feud continued until 1990. The feud continued until March 1990, with Piper winning majority of their matches throughout 89 and 90, including the win over Bobby Heenan. Then, here go the controversy. So I gotta ask y'all, cause my boy wear the blackface. Is my boy racist? Cause Bad News Brown was pissed. So you gotta think about this. So, alright. So then he feuded with Bad News Brown, who was upset at being eliminated by Piper at the 1990 Royal Rumble. Brown would go on to mock Piper for wearing a skirt. So at WrestleMania 5 in 1990, Piper cut a promo toward his opponent Bad News Brown before he cut a promo with Bad News Brown. But before the match, with half his face and his body painted black, he also wrestled Bad News with painted this way. So you got to ask yourself, because black folks been racially made fun of for many years. Since the ER, slavery and stuff like that. And then you got comedians over the years wearing blackface, disrespecting black folks like we coons and all we do is eat watermelon and pig butt. So I can kind of see why Bad News Brown was kind of upset about that. Because that's disrespectful. I don't care if it's half blackface, you still white, but it's like you disrespecting my race, bro. Like I'm just a coon, like I'm a joke. You know what I'm saying? And that's not cool. You know what I'm saying? So I think a lot of wrestlers said Piper was kind of racist. You know what I'm saying? Of course they questioned Hogan racist. We got to take Hogan saying it. But when he worded that, when I saw that, I was kind of offended by it. But he did wrestle Bad News like that. Bad News would take this display of blackface as being offensive behind the scenes. So subsequently, the match would end in a double countout because Bad News didn't want to put Pipe over. He never wanted to put Pipe out after that. You know what I'm saying? So with the issue between the two never being resolved, despite the plans to contrary, according to the behind the scenes interview, neither man was willing to lose to each other. You know what I'm saying? So they were willing to lose to each other. So in 1991, he supported Virgil in his feud against Ted DiBiase. And later in 1991, Piper was involved in a motorcycle accident, but was still present at their matches at WrestleMania. Is that 8 or 5? I'm not sure. I think it's 8. WrestleMania 8. In SummerSlam. But he renewed his familiar rival with Ric Flair at the 1992 Royal Rumble. He defeated the Mountie to become. He only won his first and only Intercontinental Championship because Piper didn't win in many belts in WWE. He lost it soon to Bret Hart because Bret Hart had lost to the Mountie in 1991. I'm trying to see, was it Survivor Series or something? I think he lost it. But following his loss to Hart, Piper made a handful of appearances. He made a handful of appearances at television tapings for the Wrestling Channel, WWF Superstars. He even had 4 Piper Pit segments recorded. 2 with Steve Lamboni, which is the Brooklyn Brawler, and 2 with Shawn Michaels. None aired, and Piper disappeared from the WWF. He made his return playing the bagpipes at SummerSlam. So the return and the bottom line in 1994 and 1996. All right. He reemerged once again in 1994 WrestleMania 10 as a guest referee for the World Wrestling Federation between Bret Hart and Yokozuna. During the match, Jerry the King Lawler remarked that he hated Piper and continued to taunt Piper on the King Court segment on Monday Night Raw. Eventually, with Lawler bringing out a young skinny impersonator in a Piper t-shirt. Forcing him to kiss his feet. Enraged, Piper agreed to wrestle Lawler at the King of the Ring, where Piper emerged victory. Piper wrestled as a fan favorite, adding to the face attitude by donating a part of his purse from the fight with Lawler to Children's Hospital in Ontario, which Canada. In spring 1994, Piper began hosting regularly on the segment called All American Wrestling, called The Bottom Line, where he commentated on various happenings in the WWF. as well on his feud with Lawler. Piper's segment aired regularly until the summer of 1994, when Piper would disappear again. Leaving the WWF again, he briefly returned in 1995 at WrestleMania 11, once again as a referee in capacity for the submission-only match, which was an I Quit match between Bret Hart and Bob Backlund. After this match, Piper became the host of replay editions of WWF pay-per-view for a brief period of time, commentating on matches that had just happened before disappearing again a few months later. So, he became the president of WWF in 1996. On January 29, 1996, on the episode of Monday Night Raw, Piper returned to another regular role as he was named interim WWF president after Gorilla Monsoon had to take a leave of absence due to attack of Vader. On February 24th, at a house show, East Rutherford, New Jersey, he made his first match appearance in almost 2 years as a substitute for Razor Ramon. Piper defeated 1-2-3 Kid after hitting him with a ring bell, and he wrestled twice more against the Kid on house shows that month. As the president, one of Piper's first act was to reinstate the Ultimate Warrior. This one, Ultimate Warrior had left. They had suspended him 4 years prior to that. You know, so he threatened Vince, and he felt drug tests and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? So he led Warrior back into the WWF after a letter campaign written by the fans. Piper had become the object of affection for Goldust. Enraged, Piper claimed he would make a man out of Goldust at WrestleMania. So the original match was supposed to be Razor Ramon versus Goldust in a Miami Street fight, but I guess Scott Hall had got suspended or something, so they had replaced him with Piper. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, so he said he was gonna make a man out of him at WrestleMania 11. Yeah, 12. I'm sorry, 12. The match, dubbed as a Hollywood backlot brawl, began a pre-taped segment recorded in the alleyway, but Goldust jumped into his gold Cadillac and ran Piper over, ultimately escaping, allegedly onto the highways of Anaheim. I guess they were trying to make fun of the OJ thing 2 years prior to that. OJ allegedly had stabbed his wife and stuff like that, so they were trying to make fun of that, I think. So he ran over Piper. Piper pursued in his white Ford Bronco. The aerial footage shown was actually that of the O.J. Simpson low-speed chase from 2 years prior to that. I just said that. This was made clear by Piper himself, who recalled the event of episodes on Piper's Pit podcast, where the two eventually at the arena, where Piper had disrobed Goldust in the ring, effectively ending the confrontation. With Gorilla Monsoon back in control of the WWF by the end of the night, Piper once again he left the company. His final appearance came September 6, 1996, Monday Night Raw, where the footage was shown of him participating with other WWF superstars at CNE Experience in Toronto. So he left WWE, and then the infamous moment happened. So World Championship Wrestling, WCW, from 1996 to 2000. Piper had joined WCW in the fall of 1996. He made a surprise appearance. He made a surprise WCW debut as a fan favorite at Halloween Havoc pay-per-view in October to insult the NWO leader. If y'all seen the promo, you know that promo was crazy. You know what I'm saying? Piper was like, "You the reason you on the. I'm the reason why you on the map. I'm the reason why wrestling on the map." He's basically saying, "I'm big as you. We on the same level. I probably ain't got the championships and the accolades, but hey, I'm the reason why we up here. I'm the reason why the NWO exists because of me." So he insulted Hulk Hogan. You know what I'm saying? The world champion. So on November 1918 episode of Nitro, Piper revealed that Eric Bischoff was a member of the NWO, which ended with the NWO members attacking him. So on December 9th, the episode of Nitro, Piper told Flair that he didn't need the Four Horsemen help beating Hogan, and he was going to do it on his own. Piper defeated Hogan with his signature sleeper hold in a non-title main event at the company's flagship show, Starrcade. So which earned him a title shot against Hogan for the World Heavyweight Championship at Super Brawl, where Piper was defeated. So Hogan did defeat Piper. So basically, yeah, like I said, Piper got the title shot against Hogan for the World Heavyweight Championship at Super Brawl, where Hogan defeat Piper. Oh wow. Okay. So on March 10th, 1997, on the episode of Nitro, Piper and his family joined forces with Ric Flair and the Four Horsemen in the battle with the NWO. So at Uncensored, Piper competed in a triangle elimination match where he captained the team of Horsemen, Chris Benoit, Steve McMichael, Jeff Jarrett, against the NWO and WCW team. The team of Lex Luger, Steiner Brothers, and the Giant. His team lost the match. This one Sting had returned. Well, I ain't gonna say returned. Sting finally made his choice and came back home to WCW after NWO won the match. So you feel me? So on March 31st episode, Piper and Flair agreed to team up and stand side by side to fight. Piper moved on to feud with other members of the NWO. So at Slamboree, Piper, Flair, Kevin Green defeated NWO member Scott Hall, Kevin Nash, in a six-man tag team match. The following month at the Great American Bash, Piper and Flair unsuccessfully challenged the Outsiders for the World Tag Team Championship. And I'm gonna say this once again: the Outsiders was terrible WCW champions. They was terrible WCW Tag Champions. I'm sorry, they weren't it. But on June 23rd, Nitro, Flair and the Four Horsemen turned on Piper and attacked him. That led to a match between Flair and Piper again at Bash at the Beach, which Piper won. Then, of course, Piper took a hiatus from television before making his return to WCW September 8th on Nitro, where he was appointed the new on-air commissioner of WCW, which reduced his in-ring work. He had briefly resumed his feud with Hogan, beating him in a steel cage match at Halloween Havoc. But on March 23rd, 1998, Piper and Randy Savage had battled to a no contest. On March 3rd episode of Nitro, Piper defeated Hogan by disqualification. So, at the 1998 Spring Stampede, Piper teamed up with the Giant in a loss to Hogan and Nash in the baseball bat on the pole match. I do not remember. The only thing I remember about Spring Stampede was Randy Savage winning the championship and Hogan was pissed. So, at Slamboree, Piper served as a special guest referee in a match between Randy Savage and Bret Hart, which Hart won by the following. But the following night, Hart won the match. But the following night on Nitro, Piper changed his decision and declared Savage as the winner by disqualification. So at the Great American Bash, Piper and Savage. This one Savage and Piper didn't trust. Piper and Randy Savage didn't trust each other, but they had they had a mutual enemy in the NWO, especially Bret Hart and Hogan. So in Slamboree, Piper had served as my bad. Where was it? Okay, yeah. At the Great American Bash, Piper and Savage lost to Hogan and Hart in a tag team match by submission. After the match, Piper wrestled Savage in the next match, which Piper defeated Randy Savage by submission. So on September 7th episode of Nitro, Piper and Diamond Dallas Page defeated Sting and Lex Luger by disqualification. Piper teamed with Diamond Dallas Page and the Warrior as Team WCW in a War Games match at Fall Brawl for an opportunity for the WCW World Heavyweight Championship the following month at Halloween Havoc. Page won the match for his team, and on the September 14th episode of Nitro, Piper had confronted Bret Hart. Then of course we got the 1999 to 2000. On the episode on February 8th, 1999, on the episode of Nitro, Piper defeated Bret Hart to win his third United States Championship. The first two reigns began in JCP. Piper held the title for only 2 weeks as he lost the title to Scott Hall at Super Brawl. At Slamboree, Piper defeated Ric Flair again by disqualification after Eric Bischoff reversed Ric Flair. He reversed He reversed Ric Flair yeah. He reversed Ric Flair pinfall win, disqualifying Flair for hitting Piper with a foreign object, which had been ignored by biased referee Little Nate Charles Robinson. 8 days later, on May 17th episode of Nitro, Piper called out Bischoff for what Bischoff did to him in 1996 before Bischoff apologized to him and WCW fans. Piper and Bischoff was interrupted by Randy Savage and his Team Madness. Before Savage and Team Madness attacked him and Bischoff until Kevin Nash saved him and Bischoff. The following month later, at the Great American Bash, Ric Flair defeated Piper by disqualification. Ric Flair defeated Roddy Piper by disqualification for control of WCW after the interference of Buff Bagwell. Upset with Bagwell getting Roddy Piper was upset with Buff Bagwell getting him disqualified. Piper knocked out Buff Bagwell out and joined Flair as vice president, turning Piper heel for the first time in WCW. At Bash at the Beach, Piper competed against Buff Bagwell in a boxing match with the referee Mills Lane as the special guest referee, which Piper lost. In late 1999, Piper returned to WCW programming as a face in an angle with Vince Russo, who was now portraying himself as the powers that be, an unseen power that was controlling WCW. So at Starrcade, Piper was the special guest referee in the WCW World Heavyweight Championship match featuring Goldberg and Bret Hart, forced by Vince Russo. Piper called for the bell when Bret Hart locked in the sharpshooter on Goldberg, when it was apparent that Goldberg had not submitted. The feud between Piper and the powers that be ended shortly after. Piper's last appearance in WCW was Super Brawl 2000 in February 2000, where he was a surprise referee in a WCW World Heavyweight Championship match between Sid Vicious, Jeff Jarrett, and Scott Hall. In July 2000, WCW terminated Piper contract. You know what I'm saying? So, he had a brief appearance in XWF. Before going to WWE in 2003, Piper served as a commissioner of XWF. On November 5, 2002, revealed Piper's autobiography In the Pit was released instead of leaving like basically his book was released, so he didn't just jump up and leave like he normally do. Basically. So then he returned to WWE in 2003. Piper returned to WWE on March 3, 2003 by conducting a surprise run-in during Hulk Hogan and Vince McMahon match at WrestleMania 19 in Seattle, Washington, where he attacked Hogan with a steel pipe to cement his heel status. But Hogan nevertheless won the match. Piper went on to align himself with an up-and-coming superstar Sean O'Hare at Backlash in April. Rikishi hit Piper with Piper on Coconut, but this led to O'Hare defeating Rikishi. So, in May, as Hulk Hogan had been banned in a storyline from television by Vince McMahon, Hogan returned under a masked man named Mr. America. He continued to feud with Piper, O'Hare, and Vince McMahon, who tried to reveal Mr. America's true identity. This storyline also saw Piper tear off a fake leg of one-legged Zach Gowen, who was playing as a Hulk Hogan fan. So at Judgment Day, Piper argued with Chris Jericho if Piper Pit was better than Jericho Talk Show, the highlight reel. And later at that event, Piper had lost to Mr. America. We know he lost to Hogan. So Piper and Sean O'Hare then moved on to challenge Tajiri and Eddie Guerrero for the WWE Tag Team Championships. But in June 2003, WWE fired Piper after a controversial interview with HBO Real Sports' Brian Gumbel, in which Piper discussed the darker side of the wrestling industry. WWE cited that Piper stated that he used drugs for many years while working in the professional wrestling. and that he does not like the person that he becomes when he's actively. He don't like the person he becomes when he performs as a professional wrestler. And dismissed Piper because of inability to reach an agreement on a contract to assist Piper from engaging in any self-destructive behavior. So on his 2006 DVD, Piper claimed that HBO took parts of his interviews out of context, making wrestling look bad. Total non-stop action from 2002 to 2005. Piper debuted in TNA Wrestling, a promotion on December 4th, 2002, at an NWA TNA pay-per-view as he started the feud with Vince Russo. This one, I think this one, Ryder Piper had asked Vince Russo. He tried to blame him for the Owen Hart death. Yeah, he started the feud with Vince Russo, cutting a promo where he blamed Vince Russo for the death of Owen Hart. From September to December 2003, Piper gave a videotape messages. And on the October 8, 2004 episode of Impact, Piper crashed the Impact Zone with the pit. Piper crashed the Impact Zone and announced his talk segment in the pit with Piper. So in November 2004, at Victory Road, he hosted in the pit with Piper. He interviewed Jimmy Snuka, who refused to exceed Piper's demands of hitting Piper with a coconut. So on December 24th of Impact, Piper hosted another in the pit with Piper and interviewed Hector Garza, but was interrupted by Scott Hall and Kevin Nash. At Final Resolution in January 2005, Piper refereed a match between Jeff Hardy and Scott Hall, helping Hardy win. This was Piper's final appearance in TNA. So what we got? I don't want to talk about this. Why not? So his second run to WWE. On February 2005, it was announced that Piper was to be inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame. Piper held an episode of Piper's Pit at WrestleMania 21, where he interviewed Stone Cold Steve Austin. On July 11, 2005, on the episode of Raw, Piper received a super kick from Shawn Michaels, the guest for Piper's Pit. So in October and November 2005, Piper feuded with Cowboy Bob Orton and Randy Orton after they attacked him during the session of Piper Pit with Mick Foley. While Piper defeated both Ortons in a handicap match and made Bob submit. He made Bob submit in a 6-man tag. The feud ended with Randy Orton interfering in a single match between his father and Piper, disqualifying Bob, but beating down Piper. In 2006, Piper returned in 2006 for a 6-man tag match against the Highlanders. The Highlanders was trash, and then I don't know if y'all remember, one of the dudes had appeared on TNA back in the day and got caught on camera. That was a no-no. Once they caught dude on camera in TNA, they got fired. Against the Highlanders and the Spirit Squad. He also appeared on the Raw Family Reunion alongside Money Incorporated, Arn Anderson, to accompany Ric Flair ringside for the match against Mitch of the Spirit Squad. On November 5th, Piper would gain what would be his final championship by winning the World Tag Team Championship with Ric Flair against the Spirit Squad at Cyber Sunday. Well, they won it. They won the belts from the Spirit Squad at Cyber Sunday. Okay. So, on November 13, 2006 episode of Raw, Piper and Flair lost the titles to Rowdy RKO against Rowdy RKO, Randy Orton and Edge. So I'm trying to see if I have to talk anything. I gotta talk about the acting stuff. Okay. So Piper final fuse. I can talk about this. Piper final fuse. Alright. So Piper appeared in February to announce the Dusty Rhodes for the WWE Hall of Fame. In June, for Vince McMahon Appreciation Night. In 2008, Piper made a surprise appearance in the Royal Rumble by attacking Jimmy Snuka. This one you see CM Punk them laughing, but they was eliminated by Kane. Piper then had a series of confrontations with Santino Marella in 2008, including on Jimmy Kimmel Live. So at the Cyber Sunday 2008, Piper was one of the three choices to be Santino Marella opponent for the Intercontinental Championship, but it was the Honky Tonk Man that was chosen. But after the match, Piper and Goldust made their way down to ring, confronting and attacking Morello. Then, of course, he made his final appearance in the Jericho feud, where it was the Legends versus Jericho. And then that's when Ricky Steamboat and Jericho had the classic match after this. But I will say this, my boy was legendary for sure. And he made his mark on the business. But we do know my boy was a Christian man and stuff like that. And he went out like a legend. So y'all know. So on July 24, 2015, Piper appeared as a guest on Rich Eisen. He had trouble collecting his thoughts and staying focused, offering rambling and not answering Rich Eisen questions. 1 week later, on July 31st, 2015, Piper died in his sleep at the age of 61. This is when he had left Hulk Hogan a voicemail, you know what I'm saying, telling him he loved him and stuff like that. Oh, it says right here. So he had his death certificate cites a cardio arrest, which caused by hypertension, embolism, like I guess blood clot, as contributing factor. TMZ reported that this heart attack was caused by the embolism. Piper longtime friend Bruce Pritchard revealed on his podcast that he received a voicemail from Piper the night before his death. In the message, Piper identified that he had not been feeling well and he would be going to sleep. He was going to sleep it off. Hulk Hogan later revealed that Piper had left a voicemail that he discovered following his death, which Piper said that he was walking with Jesus. The news of the death broke minutes before the Hall Heroes dinner to cap off the Mid-Atlantic Legends fanfare in Charlotte, North Carolina, where about 600 current former wrestling personalities and fans had gathered, receiving a 10-bell salute for the legend, Roddy Piper. But Piper was one of the greatest of all time, you know what I'm saying? He made his mark in the wrestling business. And he even got his own little legacy with his own daughter, Tia Piper. She a wrestler, you know what I'm saying? And plus, he did give his legacy to Ronda Rousey. He gave her permission to use the character and stuff like that. So, with that being said, man, he was a real OG. He was a real legend, you know what I'm saying? But with that being said, man, I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. I'm out. In the next episode will probably be that John Cena junk, because I already started writing it. So, like I said, with that being said, I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. I'm out.
I just said my grace and then I got a particular taste. I just stuffed my pockets in my face. Hey, let's have a debate. We talking about popping, I promise I'm feeling away. I took the bodies up out of my closet.